Hey folks, Will here again with Happily Ever Outdoors. So in this video, we're gonna be whipping up some rustic broccoli bacon mac and cheese. So keep watching. All right, so we're about ready to get going, you guys. We've got everything we need here to start cooking. We've got our Emberlit original stainless steel camp stove we're gonna be using, as well as our Pathfinder bush pot and Pathfinder folding skillet. And in order to help us multitask a little bit today, I think we're going to try using this Trangia backpacking stove that I picked up recently too. So going over the ingredient list, we're going to be making a batch that should be just about right for 2 people. So we've got 2 cups of pasta. It doesn't really matter what kind, doesn't have to be macaroni. This is like penne pasta, I think, but 2 cups is what we got here. We have also got 2 full slices of bacon. I've got it split in half, so I've got 4 pieces there. You could go heavier than that if you wanted. I'm just trying to keep it a little more health conscious and just going for the added flavor. We've also got a 1/3 of a cup shredded cheese that we're going to add to our cheese sauce. 1 chunk of broccoli. We're probably not going to use this much. We're probably going to use about half, so I think it'll equal out to around like 1/2 cup, maybe 3/4 cup of broccoli. And we have our cheese sauce. I don't think I'm gonna need the whole jar. My guess is it's gonna be half a jar to do this batch, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So for seasonings, it's nothing too complicated. We've got olive oil, salt and pepper, as well as some garlic powder with parsley from the house, a little bit of Italian seasoning, and some chopped onions just to give us a little more flavor. So this is actually a really nice skillet that I just picked up from Self-Reliance Outfitters. This is an 8-inch skillet, comes with the lid included. This is all stainless steel, which is nice because you know it's going to be durable. It's well built. Maybe not the lightest skillet out there, but the weight's not too bad for it being as big as it is. So what we're going to do while we're giving that stove a chance to kind of get some coals going, get heated up, and we can set our grill up on top of it, we're going to go ahead and get our bacon ready in our pan. We're going to do that first. Now, one of the things I've kind of heard with these skillets, because I haven't used this one a whole ton yet, it's pretty new to me, is that in order to help keep them from sticking, because there's no non-stick coating to this, it's better to kind of put your food in there and let the pan heat up with the food in there as opposed to putting cold food straight into the pan. At least that's what I've heard with like cooking eggs on this. So I'm thinking the same thing will probably apply to bacon. So we're going to give that a shot. Let's see if we can go ahead and get our cross members dropped in there. To be honest, I could probably get away with not even using them because this pan is big enough. It's not like it's gonna fall in there. All right. We'll go ahead and get that situated on there. And the one thing with a stove like this is you are gonna have to kind of tend to it. So keep that in mind if you're trying to do any kind of like fancier cooking. You're gonna have to keep an eye on that stove to keep it stoked. You know, keep the fuel going, and you know, to make sure that you don't let the temperature get too high or too low for what you're trying to do. All right, so I can already hear that sizzling pretty good. So definitely don't want to stoke it up anymore. And it seems like it's doing pretty good. I've cooked bacon in this pan once before since I picked it up. Ah, come on. And it kind of stuck pretty bad, but I think once it kind of gets broken in a little bit, that helps. Plus, I do think that putting the bacon in there early might have made a difference too. So while that's going, which shouldn't take too long, we'll go ahead and start getting our bush pot ready. Throw some water in there. And this is just gonna be just enough to, you know, boil our 2 cups of noodles, so you don't need to go too crazy. Check this real quick. Oh yeah, let's see, that's heating up quick. Maybe a little too quick. Yeah, we'll definitely let that stove kind of burn down a little bit. So it takes a little while to get used to the feel of it, especially when you've got a, you know, working with a new cook set, new cook pan. But I think we're good now. It's calmed down a little bit. Now with this water, I'm just gonna do like what I would normally do at the house, and that's just to add a few drops of oil to it and a little bit of salt. And that should be good to go. Just throw the lid back on there so we don't get any dirt in there. All right guys, so that bacon's got just a little bit longer to go yet. So we'll go ahead and start prepping our broccoli. Now, as I mentioned, I don't plan on using the whole thing here. I think that would be a little overkill for the portions we got going on here. So I'm just gonna try to kind of split this in half-ish. There we go. And I'll take this back to the house so it doesn't go to waste. While we're at it, let's just go ahead and get this Trangia burner going. There we go. And we'll go ahead and get our pot of water going on there. All right guys, looks like that bacon is good to go. It's a little bit crispy, got a little bit of char on there, but that is all right. That's kind of what I was going for. Going for that rustic campfire flavor. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and pull this bacon out of the pan and just let that rest for a little while so it can cool so that we can chop it up. Now for this broccoli, what I want to do, I'm going to break it down a little bit more here in a second, but I'm just going to throw it in here in this pan with some water and let it cook for a few minutes like that to kind of sort of boil it, I guess, but not quite. Otherwise, I think if I try to just cook it straight, it's going to end up like burning before it cooks through, and it's going to be, you know, hard on the outside and soggy on the inside. I'm not going to clean all this out, but of course, be smart. You're going to want to like drain off most of that bacon grease before you go add any water to that. Otherwise, it's going to be going all crazy. So, let's break this broccoli down a little bit. And you can decide how small you want to break it down. I kind of like to leave little chunks like that. Nothing too huge. Some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces. So, like I was saying, we'll go ahead and add some water to this pan. Do it kind of slow to make sure we're good. The pan's cooled down enough so it's not going to be popping and spitting with that oil. All right, so let's go ahead and drop our broccoli in there. Throw on our lid. And let's get this thing back on the heat. And I'm thinking probably just about like 3 minutes should be adequate enough just to kind of soften up that broccoli a little bit. So while that's going, we'll go ahead and prep up our bacon a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's nice and crispy. You hear that? Oh, that's a beautiful sound. So I'm just making little pieces here. Decent enough little chunks, but small enough that it'll kind of spread out, because again, we're not using a ton of bacon in this. Not trying to go super bacon crazy, make it really like fatty and heavy. You've already got that cheese sauce and everything else, so. But this is really gonna complement the flavor, I think, of the broccoli and the cheese and all that good stuff. Let's just try a little piece of that while we're waiting. Oh man. Oh, I love bacon, especially campfire bacon. Just slightly charred. Oh, it's perfect. All right, let's take a little peek here. No, I'm not really, I know I said boil earlier, but I'm not really worried about getting it to a boil, especially since this is fresh broccoli, it's not frozen. I'm just trying to give it a few minutes again, just to kind of soften it up a little bit. I think we're almost there. Alright, that's looking pretty good to me because we're still going to cook this a little bit more. So let's go ahead and just drain this extra water off. Alright, so we got that water drained off. I picked out most of the crusties that were stuck to the pan from that bacon, which actually just came right off when I boiled it. So I guess that's a little cleaning trick right there. But we'll go ahead and drop our bacon in there. And we'll go ahead and add a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt, not too much, since that bacon's gonna add some salt in there anyways. And then just a little bit of our other seasonings, throw in a little bit of these chopped onions, a little bit of this garlic powder with parsley, a little bit of this Italian seasoning, and then we'll finish that off with a little more olive oil. And let's get this back on the heat. Now I'm gonna try to stoke this up a little bit, get the heat up so that we can kind of put a little bit of a sear on all this stuff. So now we're just kind of letting everything cook together. You know, all those flavors kind of mingle, letting that bacon grease soak into that broccoli a little bit, letting those dried onions kind of soften up a little bit. And I actually think I'll add just a little bit more olive oil, it's a little dry. Go ahead and check this water. I think we're there. Yep. We got a rolling boil going. Check my fuel level. Still got enough fuel, I think, to go for a few more minutes there. So we'll go ahead and drop in our pasta. Let that get going. All right, it's looking perfect right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this from the heat. Let the pan cool for just a minute here. And we're gonna go ahead and add our cheese sauce. Alright, it's good. That pan didn't take too long to cool down there because I didn't want to end up scorching that sauce. Go ahead and throw that back on the heat. Cheesy. We'll go ahead and take our little 1/3 of a cup of shredded cheese and mix that in there just to give it a little more flavor, a little more cheesiness. And we'll just drop our lid back on there, and this just has to sit long enough to get it warmed up. Everything is cooked, so. All right, so while we give all of this just a couple more minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and straighten up a little bit. All right, let's see how we're looking. Oh, that's looking beautiful. Cheese is getting all melty in there. You can see everything is kind of coming together. All right, let's go ahead and check these noodles. Yep, I think that's right about where we want to be. A little bit firm, just a little bit of bite. Now, one thing I really like about this pot is the fact that you don't need any kind of a strainer or anything. You just put the lid on there. You can see it's got a little spout built in, so we can just drain that water off. But before we do that, we'll go ahead and put out our little Trangia stove. What you're gonna wanna do when you do this, it has 2 caps it comes with, one that has a rubber seal. Don't drop the one with the rubber seal on it. On the hot stove there, use this one right here to put it out. So you just drop it on there, it'll snuff it out, and then let it cool off, and then you can cap it off without damaging that seal. All right, let's drain this water off. That is looking good, and it's smelling even better. I'm just kind of letting it thicken up a little bit, letting all the flavors kind of mingle together a little bit more, and then we'll be good to go. Why don't we go ahead and try a little bite though while we're waiting. Oh my goodness, that is good. Got a little piece of bacon in there, but that broccoli is just right, just a little bit of bite to it still. It's not mushy, but not hard either. Cooked just perfect. And you can taste all the flavors of it, the seasoning, the bacon, and everything cooked right into that broccoli and the sauce. Oh man, it's good. Ah. Yummy. All right, guys, so for the last step, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take our noodles. Make sure we got all the water out of there. Yeah, looks pretty good. Another cool thing about this bush pot is that it's got that handle there on the side too, those bail handles. So it makes it real easy to work with. So we'll just go ahead and add that in. Oh, we lost a few noodles. Man down. All right. So let's go ahead and just mix this all together. Alright, I got nervous there for just a second. I thought I might have cut it a little short on that sauce, but once I got it all mixed up, it was just right. And I'm loving the capacity on this frying pan right here. You can see how much food I was able to get in here. This is definitely more than enough food for 2 people. So very, very pleased with that given the size and the weight of this pan. All right, break out my little UST Flexware bowl and see about loading this thing up. Obviously, I'm not gonna be eating this all by myself out here. I'll be taking the leftovers home to the missus, or if she don't want it, I'm sure one of the kids will eat it. All right, look at that, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh, this looks and smells so ridiculously good. We'll throw the lid on here and take this off the heat. And let's sit down and dig in. It's glorious. Simply glorious. Oh. All right, guys. Let's try this out. It's enough to make a grown man cry. Turned out really, really good. I couldn't ask for it to be any better. I mean, again, that broccoli came out just perfect. Still a little bit of bite to it, but not overdone. That smoky, slightly charred bacon just gives the really awesome flavor. The seasonings were just right, just to kind of take it up a notch. I'm telling you, this is not your kid's macaroni and cheese at the house. This is like a whole different level. And after a long day of hiking, camping, or bushcrafting, oh, this would be so nice to have in your belly. And I'm normally not a big vegetable guy. Broccoli, I like okay, but especially like this, I can dig this. So maybe if you're not big on vegetables, or maybe you're cooking for kids or something like that, this might be a way that you can kind of sneak it in there. So guys, I hope that maybe this video inspired you to get outside, maybe do a little camp cooking of your own. Of course, if you got any questions about this video or any comments, we'd love to hear from you below. Maybe you've got your own special kind of mac and cheese that you like to make while you're out on the trail. We'd love to hear about your recipe too. As for me, I'm just gonna hang out here a few more minutes, finish my lunch, enjoy the sunshine. I couldn't ask for a better day. Snow on the ground, but the sun comes out, so it's nice and warm. Real pretty out. This is what it's all about. So until next time, stay happy, stay outdoors.